All right, looks like we are live, and I'm going to just give it a second here to make sure that we are getting some feed going. All right, come on, YouTube, come on, YouTube, let's go, YouTube, bah, come on, YouTube. Oh, of course, it always says that there is a not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming. Why? Why not? What is wrong with the internet? I don't know. We pay our bills. I pay those bills, so I'm not sure why YouTube is not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming. There's my friends, Salon Savvy 64. Welcome. How are you? It's good to see you in the house tonight. Hey, Tanya Millett. Tanya, it's good to see you. Deb, Rose, Julie, Emily. It is so good to see all of you. And I know it says there's about 10 people there. Dale, what's going on? It's good to see you all. It's very good to see you. So happy to see you. We are going to talk about tonight some of the Royal We videos that you can expect. And hi, Warrior, what's going on? By the way, I hope that you all are still okay with my my lisp voice. For those of you who weren't with us last time, I think I let you all know, guys and gals, majority gals here, that I did get some Invisalign on my teeth. Hi, Vindicative, how are you? Hi, D. It's good to see you. JS, it's good to see you as well. Carol Tatum, good to see you. Lucy, Julie, Emily again, and Carol again. Your first time here. Welcome, Carol. Thank you so much for being here. By the way, for those of you who are first time, welcome to the Royal We Live Chat. So Royal We Live Chat is our opportunity to hang out as a community and ask questions and answer questions. There's a lot of people here in the community who are very able and capable of helping you out if you have any questions. I also like to spend time talking about the videos that I'm putting out, some of the meaning behind them, because being live is as you know, it's kind of a candid way of just talking about stuff. So even though most of my videos are pretty candid, this is even more candid. Hi, Angelo. How are you? Oh, it's good to thank you. A lot of first timers here. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Regina, it's good to see you here as well. Right on. Si habla inglés. Now then, I have Invisalign in my teeth. I'm getting my teeth straightened out. It's been something I've wanted to do for a long time, but I'm learning to talk with Invisalign in my mouth. It's like, how many of you played sports and wore a mouthpiece? It kind of feels like that. So in a lot of ways, it makes me pronounce my words better, but you will probably notice a difference, especially on my videos that I'm going to be posting this week and last week, that you'll hear it. Certain words with s's and f's, it's struggling because of this. With that, I'm going to go ahead and get into the videos that I'm posting this week for you. Also, special for you all tonight, I will be taking phone calls. So I do have my phone rigged up. I'm going to go ahead and post the phone number because initially the Royal We Live Chat was an opportunity for people to call in and say hi to the community and to talk with everyone. So we're going to do that. So I'm going to go ahead and pop in the telephone. Call in tonight at, here's the telephone number. And it's been a while since I've done this, so you may see me fidgeting with the audio board while I'm taking your phone call, just because it's been a while since I've done it. Let's chat. All right, so there you go. I just posted the telephone number, so if you are bold enough tonight and you would like to be the first one to try and call in, again, since I stopped taking phone calls some time ago, please do. Go ahead and call in. And And with that, oh, and Carol says, Kevin, you are the best. Ah, thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Bien Navidos. Right on. Hi, everybody. Hi, hi, hi. All right. Let's talk about some stuff that's going to be coming out this week. So starting with tomorrow's video that's going to be posted around noon, which was actually today's video that was supposed to be posted at noon. However, I ran into an issue with YouTube demonetizing this video. So I didn't post it. For those of you who don't know about uploading videos on YouTube, what you can do is you can initially upload the video and leave it as, what's it called? Unlisted. Unlisted means that it's prepared. I could put the tags, whatever I need to do to get the video ready, thumbnail, but it's not public. And typically I do that, and YouTube behind the scenes decides if they want to monetize the video or not. Now, this is an important aspect, the monetization, and I'll tell you why. It's not because I'm making a whole lot of money, and it's not because I want the money. That's not the reason that the monetization is important. The reason that monetization is important, at least for me on the YouTube videos, is that the monetization also helps to launch the video out, further out, to reach more people. So how many of you would say, as an example, that you probably don't even know that I'm posting videos every day, right? Okay, well, there's a reason why. The YouTube algorithm it's in such a way that it follows all kinds of patterns that you make, but not only that, but it takes videos that it deems less important, and it won't show you that video. One of these things that determines whether or not it's important or not is whether or not it's monetized. So if a video is not deemed monetizable by YouTube, then they really have no reason to really put it out there for people to see it, because it's not going to make them any money through advertisers. So this is why it's important for me to make sure that my videos are monetizable, meaning that it will give that much added reason for YouTube to put the video out in front of you. Otherwise, you may not even know, right? So that's that. So anyways, I uploaded the video and everything was good to go. I was ready to go ahead and hit public this afternoon, but I realized that it was demonetized, which means YouTube, for whatever reason, did not like today's video. So I'm going to share with you today's video, and you share with me your thoughts. Today's video, well, it's going to be tomorrow's video. We're going to be talking about gaslighting. 2 forms of gaslighting that's important for us to all know about, whether we are in whether we're in relationships with narcissists or just anywhere in general. It's good for us to understand when we are experiencing gaslighting, so we know what we are up against and what we're dealing with. Now, the 2 forms of gaslighting that I talk about in this video are, one is the primary one that we all know about, the first one, which is invalidation. Invalidation is a huge gaslighting technique. Now, invalidation is when you have a genuine concern and you bring that concern to the attention of people. So, for example, in toxic relationships, we see this all the time, where if you experience narcissistic rage, for example, and it for the first time, and it kind of throws you off, and so you want to go and you want to talk to the person and say, hey, are you okay? Are we okay? What's going on? What's up with that rage? And then what typically will happen in a narcissistic, toxic relationship is that they will look at you and say, what are you talking about? I'm not mad. I don't know what you're talking about. You're acting strange. You're crazy. I'll tell you when I'm mad, okay? So what's taking place there is a complete invalidation of your genuine concerns, your authentic concerns. And this is important. If you see an invalidation of your authentic, genuine concerns that, by the way, we all have discernment. We know when something's off. We know that when we're just raged at, for crying out loud, something is wrong. The last thing you want to do is go to that person and say, hey, what's up? And they're like, oh, I don't know what you're talking about. Nothing's wrong. Are you okay? You sure you're okay? All right. This type of stuff over time makes you go crazy. It's a form of gaslighting. And it twists your perception of reality. It starts to get you into the mindset of thinking you're too sensitive. Maybe you're reading into things the wrong way. So I'm getting a lot of people saying that lag. I'm not sure what's going on. I don't know why it would be lagging. Let me see what this says. Huh. It says that the encoding is overloaded. I'm not sure what that means. Let me see if I can fix this real quick, guys. I'm not sure. Yeah, Tanya, I'm trying to figure it out. It looks like it's buffering for some reason right now. I'm not sure what it is. I'm trying to fix it. Hopefully this will help a little bit. Huh. That's really wild. Audio is good. Please continue. Okay. So, yeah, it says turn down video settings. I don't know what that means. Anytime it says encoding overloaded, consider turning down video settings. What video settings? I'm going to look up preferences real quick. See if I can find something in video settings. Yeah. Okay. Well, I guess we're just going to have to go with it for now. So anyways, mostly lagging and some buffering. Well, I will work on resolving this issue for next week. It's good to know that this is taking place. I'm not sure what's causing it. Apparently, my streaming software, which is OBS, is overloading. So since you all can hear me, I'll just go ahead and talk with you guys. And you don't need to see my face anyways. You see it enough on the regular videos. So at any rate, I just want to share with you about the video that was not monetized for whatever reason. So I talk about the dangerous forms of gaslighting. So the first one is the invalidation. The second form I talk about is, and by the way, maybe this has something to do with it. In invalidation, I also take it a step further. I talk about peer pressure. I talk about perhaps doing things to yourself or putting things, trying things, drinking things, whatever that you may be uncomfortable with, but having people tell you, oh, there's nothing wrong with it. You should do it. You're silly. You're foolish for not wanting to do this, blah, blah, blah. This is all forms of gaslighting, right? And further down that path, you get into peer pressure, which is, again, it's all invalidation. It's invalidating your genuine God-given discernment and authentic concerns. It's taking that away from you and instead making you feel silly for having them. It's gaslighting. And so that's the first form that I talk about, the invalidation. The second form I'm going to talk about is what I call prompting. Prompting is leading questions and leading statements. This is also a form of gaslighting that we come across, and it's leading questions. Examples are like, you miss me, don't you? Right, type of stuff, or you like this, don't you? It's putting a thought in your head and then justifying it. So this is really what the video is about. It's stuff that happens to us, whether we're in toxic relationships or not, but we need to be aware of it in that it is, in fact, gaslighting. How is Everything coming through. Sound is clear. Video's still a mess. Man, it's such a bummer. It is such a bummer when it doesn't work. Truly is. Bummer. I don't know what's up. Oh, well. Still bad? Sound is good. Yeah. Yeah. So Revived Lady says, "What's wrong with you?" is another one. Yeah. So what's wrong with you? That's typically the invalidation, right? Um, Invalidation comes in the form of what's wrong with you anytime you have a genuine concern. So those are important ones, and I don't know why it was demonetized, but I'm going to try again tomorrow, and hopefully it'll be okay. I'm just getting all kinds of errors tonight. This thing is just not doing good for me. That's all right. We'll keep going. Maybe next week. Yeah, I'll keep going. Hey, if anybody wants to call and have a conversation, call on up. We'll try that. Maybe that'll work. So let's talk about some other videos that you can expect this week on the Royal We. And let me know if you have any questions. Let's see here. Now, I'm taking, and follow me on this one. This one is going to be a little bit of this one's going to get deep, right? So buckle up. Buckle your bootstraps, people. Oh, am I having issues on the back end? Tech issues on the back end? All right. So here we go. Sorry, I'm moving the mic in case it makes noise. The next video that you can expect this week, which I'm going to try and get it up this week. Hopefully it makes sense. It's a very difficult message. And this goes back on to understanding the different kinds of character that we come across in the world. I talked a little bit about this last week when I was on the lake, rolling along. And I got some comments. One of the comments in particular said that we're all basically the same. And it comes down to choice. And so I take it a step further than choice. And another typical comments that I receive is that everybody is in some way, shape, or form narcissistic. And how many of you would agree that we all can have narcissistic tendencies? And I believe in this video, the point I'm trying to make is that we, in fact, it could be said that we live on a spectrum of narcissism, if you will. And so on the spectrum of narcissism, however, not everybody is the same. You have far extreme ends of the spectrum of narcissism into complete evil and complete good. And I use the story of Cain and Abel as an example. And that's going to be a difficult message. I don't want to get too much into that, but I put out there that Cain and Abel are, in fact, the ends of the spectrum that you and I live on. And we need to be able to identify our place on the narcissism spectrum, where we're at, in order to be able to identify who we can relate to and the types of relationships that we can have. And I don't believe it's 100% choice as to where we are on the spectrum. There's evidence that suggests that there's nothing that can change the mind of certain people when they're in a certain frame of mind, if you will, because of their character. And so that's going to be a deep message. So I'll save that for later this week. And let's see if there's any questions so far. Is there such thing as intentional narcissists? They do things intentional narcissists. They do things intentionally. Well, all things that narcissistic people do are intentional. Nothing they do is not intentional. It's just understanding That's a great question, by the way. I should make a video of that. But we got a phone call. Let's see if this works. And hello, can you hear me?
I can.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can.
Let me see. I got to turn this up real quick. Keep talking.
Okay.
Hello, can you hear me?
Hello, yes.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
I
I
can,
don't know
yes.
why I'm not able to hear anything. Doggone it. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, and I can hear you. Yes. All right.
Okay.
Let's see. Can everybody in YouTube give a thumbs up if you can hear the caller? Can you guys all hear the caller? Say something again.
Hello.
Hi there. Okay. Well, let's go ahead and chat, and hopefully they will let us know if they can
Okay.
hear us. All right. So what's going on? What is your name, and what's bringing you on?
Well, my name is Lena, and I'm from Illinois.
Oh, you're close.
And
You're my neighbor.
Illinois?
Yeah, I'm in St. Louis.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So we're kind of neighbors.
Yes. Not very far.
And so
Okay.
what's going on?
I just wanted to thank you for the video that I had watched. And it was basically explaining how, as Christians, when we get caught up with narcissistic people, that we have that inside of us to try to help them and to keep staying around in the relationship so much longer than we would have, maybe necessarily if we weren't a Christian, because
Yes.
we're thinking that we have to be like a good person all the time and be like Jesus and always showing his love.
Right.
But we always get that confused with the boundaries that are healthy and, taking in consideration all the abuse.
Right. 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 Yeah, I'm a strong believer, and this is why I believe personally. I've left a lot of the non-denominational Christian churches that I was a part of for this very reason. As a matter of fact, my eye-opening experience came from some of the pain that I dealt with in church, and I was involved in some big churches in California before I moved to St. Louis. I was a part of the worship team, a part of the prayer teams, and on the lay counseling team as well. But when I dealt with narcissistic abuse, what I was met with when I went to my the superiors there, the head pastors there, and I was looking for help because I knew the relationships were toxic. And when I went there for help in dealing with these toxic people, what I was met with was, well, you need to pray harder. You need to love better. You need to love more. That's the gist of what I was receiving. And when you are in a lot of pain from narcissistic abuse, that just further damages you. And I didn't realize it, but it was like I was getting punched in the gut, because not only was I dealing with the abuse of the relationship, the toxic relationship with all the name calling and the cussing and all this and that, but I was also listening to church people now say that I'm not loving enough, that everything that I poured my heart out into was not loving enough. And that's damaging. That's damaging. And it's inaccurate. It's inaccurate, because the reality is that we're not to have anything to do with it. It wasn't until later when I started reading Second Timothy, 2 Timothy chapter 3, where it gives you a list of characteristics, and it says, have nothing to do with these people. And it's like mind blowing. You see this stuff, and it's all the narcissistic characteristics down to a T. Yet modern church has us kumbaya holding hands trying to love these people. And you can't. It doesn't work that way. Um, this evil that we deal with in this world uh, really enjoys the empathy of empathetic people, and and they will use you and your empathy for everything they can gain from it. And at the end, all they want is what you'll give them out of that. And they're not interested in how it affects you. They're not interested in how it may hurt you. They don't care. That's the reality of it. And so we as believers need to be able to reserve our peace. We can't give up our peace uh, in any situation. And yeah, we've got to learn to just walk away.
Yes, definitely.
Yep.
I was I was actually raised by a narcissist, and then I was in a relationship for approximately 7 years uh, with a narcissist, and I don't know. I don't know what happened, but it was like I finally recognized what was going on, and then I kept distancing myself, and I couldn't get the person to leave me alone.
Hmm.
And so
Yeah.
finally, there was one more, thing of gaslighting going on, and that was just like the final icing on the cake.
Right. What kind of relationship was this?
It was a boyfriend girlfriend relationship.
Okay, so and this is an interesting way to look at this too. When you allow these certain personality types and you are giving yourself to them, basically for free. And I use this analogy with dating relationships in particular. Let's say that you are a baker, right, and you make amazing cupcakes, okay, and you have a
Hmm.
cupcake shop, and then every you decide that you want to try something different, and you want to give a cupcake to somebody who's, you want to give it to the poor and the homeless. Okay, which sounds like a good thing, right? You want to give them a chance, so you give it to the poor and the homeless, and then you start doing it every week. Eventually, uh, you're going to go broke because you're giving away all of your cupcakes to the poor and the homeless, and
Right.
you know what I mean? And they're kind of scaring away the good uh people who want to come and pay, right? So because you're got a place full of this homeless person or this hungry
Right.
person, right? And so what's going to happen is you finally decide, listen, I can't keep giving you cupcakes for free because I'm going broke here. And what you're going to notice is that they don't go away right away. As a matter of fact, they'll come back. They'll be knocking on your door the next week, and then they'll lay the guilt on you. That's not fair. You gave us cupcakes last week. Why don't you give us cupcakes this week? You know what
Right.
I mean? And this is how it is with narcissistic people. Once you let them in, because they're so hungry, and they're in a fight for supply, right? They need it like food.
Yeah.
Once they find
Yeah.
a source of supply like you, and I relate it to feeding homeless because really in the relationship they didn't give you much in return. And this is the
Oh no,
saddest.
absolutely like
Yeah,
nothing.
it's 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 the saddest part when you turn around and you realize that you were giving and giving and giving to somebody who never did anything for you. And it's sad. That's very hurtful because it caused you to go broke. But yeah, so you push them out, say no more, but yet they won't go away. They're still trying to get some free cupcakes from you, if you know what I mean. And
Oh yeah.
they'll make you feel guilty for no longer giving them their cupcakes. Right.
Yes. I'm just very grateful that God finally brought me to that point where that doesn't work anymore.
And that's good because really it is just it comes down to you. You and
Yes.
I and we have the burden in our lives to make sure that we are doing the best, being the best stewards with what we have. And the best that we have is our personal time, our peace, our love, if you will. These are precious things, and we need to be better stewards with this that we've been given. We can't be messing around and just giving it to whomever we think is cute,
Yeah.
funny, charming, um, if it's not going somewhere.
Exactly. Yes, I totally agree.
Yep.
Well, I just wanted to thank you so much for for your channel and everything,
Thank
and
you.
I just really appreciate it. It gives me a sense of community because I really don't have um, that many family and friends that live right around me. So
Right.
I just really appreciate it.
Right on. Well, thank you. Thank you for calling. I appreciate you.
Oh, you're so welcome. Thank you. I appreciate you too.
All right. Have a great night.
You too. Bye
Bye.
bye.
Well, that was awesome. How about it? We've got our phone calls backing up. We could take phone calls. Woo! Woo! So next Monday night, for sure, we'll have the phone up and ready to take phone calls. Also, I'll make sure that I correct the lag issue so it doesn't lag anymore. Um, did it sound okay to everybody else? Was it coming through okay? The phone call? Right on. Right on, right on. Yeah. All right. Well, listen, oh, here's a question from Carol. Is narcissism genetic? My dad was a narc, and I think my sister is. Both lack empathy and more traits. I had a charming narc boyfriend. I left him on the advice of my attorney. Yeah. So this is what I am going to talk about in one of the videos coming up this week, talking about how we all live on a spectrum of narcissism. On one end is Cain, the other side is Abel. And yes, I do believe that narcissism is in fact an inherent character trait, which would be a sign of some form of genetic or some form of DNA imprint, if you will. And I know people don't like to think of it in terms like that. They're going, that's not fair. They can't choose what it is they have. It's kind of like people who are born with any type of disability. And so, again, we're not talking about this information, though, because we want to look down on them, just like you would look down on anybody with any kind of a disability. What it's for your knowledge, is to better assess who you are in this life, because this is what is important. Okay. We have to get past the idea that we are all the same. We're all basically the same. No, we are not. If that were true, then if people were like you and me, then nobody would be out being killed, right? But it's happening. Why? Because we're not all the same. There are people who are perfectly okay with that stuff. It's not just choice. Okay. So, we know this information so that we can better assess who we are as individuals, where we sit on the line of narcissism, where we exist. That's our number, that's our lane, that is our path. And we need to be able to stick on our path and find the people on our path who we are alike in to, right? Who we are a similar kind with, that we can move forward together, promoting one another, right? Leading one another. Iron sharpens iron, on and on and on. There's so many analogies, even in the Bible, that talks about when two people come together. But you can't do this until you have the basic understanding that not everyone is the same. And if we don't stop messing around on far ends of the narcissistic spectrum where we don't belong, way off of our path, way off of who we are as individuals, we're going to keep getting in trouble. We're going to keep experiencing it over and over and over again until we finally come to terms with who we are as individuals and where we belong, and we're okay with that. It comes down to you being okay with who you are. When you're okay with who you are, then you will know how to find the right people for your life. Emily says, is the strain of narcissism part of the weakness from evil on the body from the fall of man? Well, if you want to look biblically, Emily, here's the reality of it. There was once perfection in the garden, if you will, of Eden. As a result of the first sin or the disobedience, they were thrust out of the Garden of Eden into a cursed earth. And that's where we now live, a cursed place. The world is in fact cursed. And that was established from the beginning. God said, "Cursed is the ground because of you." And uh this is why in this life we have to work and eat and all this stuff to survive. Now, all these things we have to do, work, eat, mate, procreate, all this stuff takes a bit of narcissism. And I believe that this is why in the very next part of that story, we see the two sons born, the very first two humans born on on in the world, according to the ancient literature, Cain and Abel. And they represent that spectrum of narcissism. Being the first two humans born, they represent the far ends. One represents obedience, morals, and values. The other represents envy, jealousy, hate, anger, and malice. And there we have it. And I believe that that's the spectrum that we live within. All right. And we are hopefully all gravitating more towards the good, obedient side. But we know for sure that there are many who gravitate towards the side of Cain, if you will. How do you deal with a narcissist parent who you have broken away from, who is dying and raging still at those around them? It's a good question. I don't think you should be around them. I mean, if they're still raging, why go? I mean, now that's just, I'm not sure. I wouldn't be there. That's for sure. I wouldn't go around it. Maybe once, but if they're still raging, I just wouldn't. And what can you do? Right? I think you could be around it as long as you have your peace. If you don't have your peace, you can't. And your peace is going to come down to the whole history of your relationship, not just that moment. Marwa, how to react or non-react to a Christian friend who just came out as a queer? That's interesting. So a Christian friend who comes out as being not straight, how do you react to it? Oh boy. I don't know. I mean, look, I used to, when I was in the non-denominational church and I was a counselor there in Celebrate Recovery, I did in fact sponsor people who were involved in sexual sins, and some which were homosexual, because it is something that it happens in the church. And I remember that the way I dealt with it and the way in which I identified with it, it's interesting because I identify with people the same way through the royal we. It's why I'm able to talk to not only Christians, but when I take appointments, I talk to Muslims, I've talked to all kinds of different belief systems. And because the message is the same, abuse is abuse is abuse, and I can help anybody through that. Even though I prefer to use the Bible as reference points, because that's where I find the wisdom and the understanding that helps heal. And so what I discovered about dealing with people who are sexually promiscuous in with same sex and things like that is I understood it just the same way as I tried to understand somebody who is sexually promiscuous and straight. I looked at it both as just a desire. The sexual promiscuity is that need to feel loved, that need to feel that affection that they feel they missed out on life. And so that's how I tackled the issue. I don't necessarily look at it as who it's with, whether it's a guy or a girl. I look at it as that sexual perversion that is being used to try to fill a void in their life. And when I look at it that way, it's sad either way. It's hard to deal with either way, right? That promiscuity thing. But when it comes to dealing with a friend of yours who has come out, all you can do is pray. All you can do is, say, okay, but at the same time, all you can do, right, is make sure that you're not wrapped up in it. That means that if you're not in agreement with that lifestyle, then you just need to back out of doing things that they may want to do together with you. Maybe go to a club. I would say, no, I'm just not into that. I'm not going to do that. I don't want to go to a club. I don't want to go drinking. I don't want to, because you're going to put yourself at risk of being exposed to a lifestyle that you're not judging, but you don't want to get involved in. And this is one of the problems that we see today, is that we're entering into a phase where we feel like we have to be guilty for not wanting to engage in certain practices, right? In certain lifestyles. That's called judgmental. How dare you? No, it's not. I'm not judging you. Go to your clubs, go do your dance-offs, go freaky deaky, whatever you want to do, but I don't want to do it, and I'm going to stay home. Not because I'm judging you, but because I don't want that for my life, because I'm different, right? But again, we live in this place where everybody has a hard time with these differences. Nina asks, how do you deal with a narcissist parent who you have broken away from, who is dying and raging? Yeah, that one, again, it just comes down to your comfort level. If you don't want to be around the rage, then don't go around it. Dying or not, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't. Your presence in their life, if they're raging at you, doesn't. I mean, what's your presence gonna do? I think sometimes we feel like we need to, because we're gonna have this great moment and it's gonna be beautiful and it's like out of a movie. Nope, they're still raging. They're still narcissistic, and all you've done was waste your time and theirs, and you walk away feeling bad, right? All right. All right. With that, are there any other questions? Marwa asks, how do you deal with narcissist parent who recruits all the siblings into their narrative of you when it's never accurate? That's definitely a tough one, and that's something that happens, turns into collective narcissism, and that's right there. That's the description of your basic scapegoated child, right? So parents and siblings coming together to target out one particular individual. Typically, that individual is failing to assimilate into the group or the family of narcissistic structure. Typically, this person is somebody who is either creative, too independent from the family, is aspiring to do other things outside of the family. This person becomes a threat to the narcissistic hierarchy of that family, and so therefore they're targeted. So that just kind of sets the stage for that type of person that she's referring to. And then they recruit siblings and say nasty, horrible things. So what do? Well, you use that as the reason as to why you need to leave that family dynamic. The problem is we struggle to leave the family dynamic. We kind of want our cake and eat it too. But we want to be independent. We want to be ourselves. We just want you to accept me. Why can't you just accept me? Why can't you? Because they can't. They're angered and they're offended. Right? It's like the story of Joseph in the Bible, where Joseph told his brothers that he was having dreams, that he was going to be great, and his brothers hated him. Oh, how they hated him. They conspired to kill him. Sure enough, Joseph went on to be the ruler of Egypt, right under Pharaoh, right? We're talking about this on Royal We Fellowship. Joseph would not have become the ruler of Egypt had he not gotten away from his entire family. Now, he didn't choose to get away. He was thrown out. So I think the message in this is that we sometimes need to accept that when a family has turned against us, has betrayed us, and is conspiring against you, take it as them throwing you out. Take it as your opportunity then to go and to find where you belong, to become that greatness that you are called to be, because it will never happen when you're stuck in that toxic family. Listen, this goes for anybody. If you are choosing to stay with toxic siblings, you will never get any more than what you've always gotten. It will never become better. You'll never find success. You will only the best you can become in a toxic family is to whatever level the best already exists in that toxic family. All right. With that, it is 10 p.m. here in the Midwest, and it is time to shut her down. Go to bed. All right. Hopefully, you all received some good insight tonight. I'm glad to see the phones working. It looks like the stream is doing better tonight as well. And I'm going to go ahead and sign out, but we will be back next Monday night for sure, taking phone calls. So I'll be sure to post the telephone number again next week. And we'll also take care of the lagging issue. And with that, we'll be back next Monday night on Royal We Live Chat. And also, watch out this week for the videos that we talked about and much more on the Royal We channel. That's going to be this week every day at 12 o'clock Central. So I believe it's like 2 o'clock Eastern time, 10 o'clock Pacific, I think, 10 a.m. Anyways, right around that noon time zone. So watch out for tomorrow. Tomorrow we're going to be talking about gaslighting on the Royal We, that video. And then after that, we got some great videos coming out this week. I'll be back next Monday night. Bless you all. Join me Saturday morning for Royal We Fellowship if you are not already there. That's Saturday morning at 9 on the Royal We Fellowship channel. You can find the link in the description down below. All right, bye, everybody. Blessings. Have a great week.